The hard part is done for the Dallas Mavericks. They have their superstar of the future in Luka Doncic. The challenge now becomes keeping Doncic happy and making sure they can build a formidable contender around him. When the Mavs traded for Kristaps Porzingis, they had that priority in mind, and the tandem of Porzingis and Doncic basketball-wise is tough to beat. Just ask the LA Clippers in last year's playoffs.
Nice. Faking the long three, Porzingis puts it down. A drive inside, and a late pass by Luka to Porzingis for the flush.
That's terrific stuff.
But Porzingis has shown time and time again that he can't stay healthy, and therefore can't be relied upon as Doncic's key big man. With Doncic's contract extension coming up, it's time to get serious about winning, and for the Mavs to move on from Porzingis. If you subscribe to the idea that the Mavs should trade Porzingis, then you should maybe, I don't know, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And if you don't agree, still do it. I know you want to. Now back to Porzingis. The Mavericks undoubtedly took a risk when they traded for Porzingis midway through the 2018-2019 season. Porzingis was still recovering from an ACL tear and missed that entire season. They ended up doubling down on that risk when they signed Porzingis to the largest contract extension in Mavs history, a 5-year, $158 million deal in July of 2019, before Porzingis had even played one game in a Mavs jersey. The next season, the Mavs were cautious with their newest asset, resting him on back-to-backs and putting Porzingis on multiple minute restrictions. Despite Doncic and Porzingis taking some time to get acclimated with each other's game, the Mavs finished with the best offensive rating in NBA history and clinched a playoff spot in the tough Western Conference. In round one of the bubble playoffs, Doncic and Porzingis were a deadly offensive duo and probably would have eliminated Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and the Clippers if it weren't for Porzingis getting injured again. Porzingis suffered a lateral meniscus tear in Game 1 and was out for good after Game 3. Doncic's individual heroics weren't enough as the Clips prevailed in 6 games. In October, Porzingis underwent surgery and missed the first 9 games of the 2020-2021 season to recover. The Mavs started the season slow without Porzingis, mainly due to a struggling Doncic and leading the league in player games lost due to the NBA's health and safety protocol. But even after Porzingis' return, the Mavs remained outside of the West playoff picture while bleeding points on the defensive end. In late February, league sources told Bleacher Report's Jake Fisher the Mavs had quietly gauged the trade market for Porzingis. Both Mavs owner Mark Cuban and head coach Rick Carlisle denied those rumors, and Porzingis himself said he wasn't worried about it.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, Ryan.
Okay.
You heard it here first. It's definitely not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
All right.
If there's one thing I know, it's when someone is lying.
Since returning from injury, Porzingis has been slow to regain form. But even if we chalk up the shooting struggles to him just finding rhythm after missing time due to injury, one thing that has been on a steep decline has been his impact on the defensive end. Prior to his injuries, Porzingis was a legitimate rim protector and serviceable defender, using his combination of size, length, and mobility to be a terror on switches and against any offensive player trying to score at the rim. But after surgeries on both of his knees, his mobility has disappeared. He's averaging a career low in block percentage at 2.7% and is in the 75th percentile among bigs in that statistic. Porzingis has never ranked below the 85th percentile in his career. The Mavs already struggle on that end of the floor, allowing 114 points per 100 possessions on defense, which is ranked 22nd in the NBA. And it doesn't help that the Mavericks are a better defensive team without Porzingis. With Porzingis on the floor, the Mavs allow 119.2 points per 100 possessions, which would be the second worst defense in the league. With Porzingis off, the Mavericks are 7.6 points per 100 possessions better, which would be the 12th best defense in the NBA. It's a stark contrast, one that has also caught the attention of one Western Conference executive who in Fisher's report said, "It looks like it's impossible for him to get in a stance. He looks like a scarecrow out there. I'm not sure the guy can guard anybody." The Mavs are not a renowned defense in general with Doncic, who has to get better on that end himself. But it certainly doesn't help that your second star is also becoming a defensive liability. And that's why this upcoming summer is so important for Dallas. Doncic, an MVP candidate this season, is eligible for a 5-year max contract extension, and throwing money at him will be a no-brainer. But that essentially locks you into Porzingis and Doncic as your duo for the next 3 years, as Porzingis has 2 years left on his deal, plus a player option for $36 million when Porzingis will be 29. And Porzingis has never played a full NBA season and hasn't cracked 60 games played since his second year in the league. And it's not like the Mavs have a slew of draft picks to leverage or develop talent from, because they gave their 2021 and 2023 first-round draft picks to acquire Porzingis. And despite what some might think, Dallas hasn't historically been a hot free agency destination, even with no state income tax.
Down with taxes! Down with taxes!
Their biggest free agent signing of the decade is either DeAndre Jordan or Monte Ellis, and either way, well, that's not good. So what could a Porzingis trade look like? What about Porzingis for the Atlanta Hawks' John Collins and Danilo Gallinari? Collins is already on the trading block after contract negotiations broke down in Atlanta, and the Hawks may be having buyer's remorse with the 32-year-old Gallo. Collins is a restricted free agent this summer, so a trade would give Dallas his bird rights and the chance to extend it. And improving as a defender, Collins would fit right in with Doncic as a rim-running threat that can also shoot from behind the arc. The issue would be that the Hawks are rumored to be looking for draft compensation, and the Mavericks can't give up a first-round draft pick until 2025 because the Knicks own the Mavs' 2021 and 2023 first-round draft picks, and the NBA's stipend rule doesn't allow you to trade first-rounders in consecutive years. In New Orleans, the Pelicans and Lonzo Ball haven't seen eye-to-eye on a potential contract extension, and the Mavericks could use a secondary ball handler to alleviate some pressure off of Doncic. Could Lonzo Ball and JJ Redick be enough to entice the Mavericks to give up Porzingis? Another intriguing destination for Porzingis is the Golden State Warriors. The Mavericks have reportedly already reached out to the Warriors to gauge their interest in the Latvian center. And they would likely have to take on Andrew Wiggins' 3-year contract worth $94 million in order to get the Wolves' illustrious top 3 protected pick that the Warriors own. But getting a good return could be very challenging for the Mavs, considering Porzingis' injury history, his contract, and the fact that his value is probably at an all-time low.
Yikes. Well, good luck with all that.
The best the Mavs can hope for is that Porzingis finishes this season off strong, and that helps change his perception around the league to the point where he can be a trade asset. It probably helps that Dallas has the easiest schedule in the NBA for the second half of the season. But make no mistake, keeping Porzingis past this season could lead to the Mavericks not being able to add any other talent to this roster, which could be the first domino to fall that inevitably leads to Doncic looking elsewhere. So while the Mavs front office might deny that Porzingis is on the chopping block, let's be real, it's almost a given. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.